Hello, and you're very welcome to the 2020 DCU Alumni Awards. My name is Zainab Aladil, a graduate in journalism from the class of 2017, and I'm your MC this evening. First up tonight, I am pleased to introduce you to the Director of Alumni Relations, Ross Monley, who is also a graduate of the university. He's here to say a few words.
Tróna mai a gcuimhní uaisle, agus fáilte go gradam na géimethe 2025. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Alumni Awards. As Director of Alumni Relations here in DCU, I am delighted to welcome our staff, students, graduate community, and of course our illustrious awardees and your families to this evening's award ceremony. Ordinarily, I would be greeting you from the stage in the Mahoney Hall within the Helix. This year, I hope you will enjoy our Alumni Awards broadcast from the comfort of your living room. The last 12 months have been incredibly busy for Alumni Relations. Our international chapters are bigger than ever. Our volunteering numbers are growing rapidly. And once again, we are shortlisted for the IITD National Training Awards for Excellence in Mentoring, alongside our colleagues in the Career Service, the School of Communications and the School of Law and Government. One of the standout memories of the year was DCU alumna Jenny Egan cutting the ribbon at the opening of our brand new Alumni Centre in the street on the Glasnevin campus. This evening, we will honour 17 of our graduates across 2 awards categories. We are tremendously proud of our graduate community and so very often humbled by their incredible achievements. I hope you are sitting back, relaxed and ready to enjoy this year's award ceremony.
Thank you, Ross. Now it's time to announce the first awards of the evening, our 2020 Alumni Wall. 11 of our graduates will be added to the illustrious Alumni Wall. The recipients of these awards were chosen by their respective Faculty of Study and DCU Connected for their incredible achievements. I will announce each awardees, highlight their current role, briefly overview their achievements and note their course of study at DCU. You can find more information on each recipient in the Alumni Awards booklet available on our website. First up is the DCU Business School. The first graduate to be added to the 2020 Alumni Wall is Caoimhe de Barra. Caoimhe is CEO of Tadhg with over 20 years' service in roles of leadership, responding to the plight of some of the most marginalised and at-risk communities in the world. She was appointed to this role in August 2018, following 3 years working as Country Director for Concern Worldwide in Malawi. Prior to 2015, Caoimhe worked in a number of other roles in Tadhg, which she first joined in 1997, including Director of Tadhg's International Division, Assistant Regional Manager for Southern Africa, and Policy and Advocacy Coordinator. Caoimhe graduated with a BA in International Marketing and Languages from DCU in 1992. The second graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Dara Brown. Dara is a global leader at Bank of America, where he heads up client service and innovation for research. As COO of the research function worldwide, he is responsible for finance, human resources, marketing and communications, operations and technology, and coordination with Bank of America's regional management teams. Prior to his current role, Dara held a number of senior positions in research, technology strategy, and business development since joining Bank of America in 1999. He had previously held senior positions at UBS and PricewaterhouseCoopers Management Consulting. Dara received his master's degree in investment and treasury management from DCU in 1994. Now I am pleased to introduce you to the Executive Dean of the Business School, Professor Anne Sinnott.
On behalf of the Business School, I'm delighted to congratulate Caoimhe and Dara on being added to the 2020 Alumni Wall. We couldn't have chosen 2 more deserving awardees. Although you both pursued very different programs, International Marketing and Languages and the Masters in Investment and Treasury, Both of you have spent a long time with your respective organisations and have risen steadily through the ranks to senior positions of immense influence. We couldn't have chosen two better role models. Welcome to the Roll of Honour that is the 2020 Alumni Wall. My sincere congratulations.
Next up is the DCU Institute of Education. The third graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Dr. Michael Finneran. Dr. Michael Finneran is widely regarded for his research, commentary and advocacy for the place of creativity in education and the importance of theatre as an art form. He was the founding head of Drama and Theatre Studies at Mary Immaculate College in 2015. Prior to then, he established and led the Department of Arts, Education and PE there. Michael was a ministerial appointee to the Implementation Group for the Arts in Education Charter and chaired the design group for the Creative Schools programme. Michael graduated with the Bachelor of Education from St. Patrick's College in 1996. The fourth graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Professor Dipna Devine. A long-time leader in the field of education, Dipna is now a Professor of Education in UCD, an elected member of UCD Governing Authority and a ministerial appointee to the National Children's Advisory Council. Her research work has a national and international profile. Her most recent work includes Children's School Lives, the first mixed methods longitudinal study of primary schooling in Ireland, and the Safe Learning Study, a study of gender equality, well-being and literacy in primary schools in Sierra Leone. Dipna graduated with the Bachelor of Education from St. Patrick's College in 1984. Now please welcome the Executive Dean for the Institute of Education, Professor Anne Looney.
The Institute of Education is proud to add the names of Dipna Devine and Michael Finneran to the Alumni Wall for 2020. Dipna Devine works at UCD, where she's a full professor in the School of Education, and she also works in the Geary Institute. Dipna works from a sociological perspective, and her main focus is the identity of children and children's lives and voices, particularly the lives and voices of children on the margins. She's the principal investigator in Ireland's first longitudinal study of children's experience of primary education. And she's known across the world for her groundbreaking work in including children as agents in research, not simply as the objects of the study. Michael Finneran is a senior lecturer in drama at Mary Immaculate College in Limerick. Michael describes his work as being in the interdisciplinary space between the humanities and education. And he's also particularly interested in why the arts and discussions of the arts are so marginal in the broader education debate. He's also a practicing theatre artist with many directorial and design credits to his name. What unites both of our nominees this year is that they position their work on the margins, they combine their scholarly work with advocacy, and they are both champions for change. We are proud to present them as role models for our undergraduate and postgraduate students, for our staff, and for our alumni community across the world.
Next up is the Faculty of Engineering and Computing. The fifth graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Eleanor Merritt. Eleanor is Senior Vice President at Oracle Corporation. She's responsible for identity and access management development, Oracle Fusion middleware support, database on-premises support, and sustaining engineering for Fusion middleware. She's a versatile innovator who leads complex cross-functional technical initiatives. She applies her broad, full-stack technology background to oversee large, globally distributed engineering teams. A native of Wexford, Eleanor joined Oracle upon graduation from DCU and is now in her 30th year with the company. Eleanor holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Applications, graduating in 1990. The sixth graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is John Martin. John is the founder, president, and CEO of the Cavan Group based in Boston, Massachusetts. In his 26 years in business, he has excelled at identifying business and technology trends, setting the strategic direction of the company and developing service offerings that meet the needs of a diverse client base. Prior to founding the Cavan Group, John has held IT management positions at Houghton Mifflin Publishing and Fidelity Investments. John is receiving a Special President's Recognition Award for his multifaceted contribution to DCU. He has been an active member of the DCU Educational Trust since 2010 and is a regular host of DCU students, alumni, and events in Boston. He graduated from electronic engineering in 1986. Now I am pleased to welcome the Executive Dean for the Faculty, Professor Lisa Looney.
Congratulations from everyone in the Faculty of Engineering and Computing. We're immensely proud of you and of your achievements, and we're delighted to be able to say so publicly through the awards today. When you're next home, we would love to welcome you on campus, but in the meantime, we will make sure that the class of 2020, the next generation of engineers and computer scientists, will hear the story of Eleanor and the story of John, who once stood probably uncertain in the same shoes. We know that it will give them heart and that it will inspire them to see where their own degrees might take them. Congratulations again.
On to our next faculty, Humanities and Social Sciences. The seventh graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Colonel Mark Hearns. Mark has been a leader in the field and in command roles in over 3 decades of service with the Irish Defence Forces. He is currently its Director of Logistics and Court-Martial Administrator. He has also served as Officer commanding 27 Infantry Battalion, Officer in charge of overseas operations at Defence Forces HQ, and Commandant of the Command and Staff School. He has served in leadership roles on 9 overseas peace operations in the Middle East, the Balkans, the former Soviet Union, Central Asia and Africa with the UN, OSCE, European Commission, and NATO. Mark holds a Master's in International Relations from DCU, graduating in 2002. The 8th graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Anya Kerr. Anya Kerr is a renowned journalist and a pioneer in the development of news infrastructure in the digital era. Today, she is the COO of news technology company Kinsen. Previously, Anya led global journalism partnerships at Facebook and has also worked with Storyful, the Irish Times, Irish Independent, and Irish Examiner. She is a member of the advisory board for the Institute for Future of Media and Journalism, FUJO, in DCU, a co-founder of Online News Association Ireland, and a fellow of the Sulzberger Leadership Program in Columbia University. Anya is a 2-time graduation from the Bachelor of Education from St. Patrick's College in 2002, and then from the Masters in Journalism in DCU in 2005. Now, I am pleased to introduce the Executive Dean, Professor John Doyle.
On behalf of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, I'm delighted to announce our 2 alumni awardees for 2020. Anya Kerr is a DCU graduate of both education and journalism. Following senior roles in Facebook and Storyful, Anya is co-founder and CEO of Kinsen, a new Irish company developing solutions for people who want control of their news experience. She remains a valued advisor of DCU's Institute for Media. Colonel Mark Hearns is a graduate of DCU's International Relations Programme. His contribution to peacekeeping represents the best traditions of the Irish Defence Forces, deploying some of the most challenging environments, including Syria, Lebanon, Liberia, Kosovo, and Afghanistan. He returns frequently to lecture to DCU students.
Next up is the Faculty of Science and Health. The 9th graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Angela Okamina Unife Kennedy. Angela founded Migrant and Minority Disability Network Ireland in November 2013. She has been involved in the co-authored project Access to Services for Migrants with Disabilities, which promotes the efficient management and integration of asylum seekers and migrants with disabilities in the EU. Angela has been invited by international migrant groups in Malta, Spain, Serbia and Holland to talk about the plight of migrants with disabilities and how they can be supported. Angela is a 2013 graduate of the Bachelor of Science in Intellectual Disability Nursing from DCU. The 10th graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Dr. Conor Burke. Dr. Conor Burke is the Director of Innovation and Systems Engineering, Global Device Engineering at Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals Ireland Limited, with over 20 years' experience in life sciences research and development. He received an executive MBA from the UCD Smurfit Business School in 2017 and took on his current role in 2019, focusing on the identification of medical device development opportunities and the translation of these into commercial reality. He has also held a series of research and development management roles in DCU centres, including the Optical Sensory Laboratory, the Biomedical Diagnostic Institute, and Ireland's first Fraunhofer Project Centre. Dr. Conor Burke is a two-time graduate of DCU, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Physics with French in 1999 and a PhD in Physics Research in 2004. Now, please welcome the Executive Dean, Professor Michelle Butler.
Angela, we're delighted to place you on the Alumni Wall this year to acknowledge your important work in community health. As a leader and social entrepreneur, you are an important role model for our students, and we wish you continued success in the future. Congratulations, Angela. Conor, we are delighted to place you on the Alumni Wall this year to acknowledge your remarkable contribution to life sciences research and development and your achievements in science and industry. As a DCU alumnus, you are an important role model for our students, and we wish you continued success in your career. Congratulations, Conor.
And finally, DCU Connected. The 11th graduate to be added to the Alumni Wall is Anthony Bolton. Anthony is the Chief Information Officer and Chief Technology Officer for Global Telecommunications, End User Services and Infrastructure in General Motors. He also leads digital strategy in areas such as collaboration, virtual reality, real-time 3D, and customer experience. Anthony has also held global executive IT positions with Hewlett-Packard and Dell. Anthony is a two-time graduate of DCU, graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Humanities in 2007 and with a Master's in Internet Systems in 2010. Finally, I would like to introduce you to the Director of the National Institute of Digital Learning, Professor Mark Brown.
I'd like to congratulate Tony on winning this award. He's a double graduate of studying online through DC Connected and a great example of how more flexible study pathways can enable people to develop and indeed flourish in their chosen profession. Tony's currently completing his PhD at the University of South Africa, but remains a very good and valued friend of DCU. Well done.
All our graduates, students and staff are welcome to view each alumni wall when the campuses open again. Still to come, we'll be hearing from the President of DCU, Professor Breen McCrath, as well as honouring the winners of our 2020 Outstanding Achievement Awards. But first, I would like to welcome just one of this year's Outstanding Achievement awardees, Tadhg Furlong, in conversation with sports journalist and DCU alumna, Cliona Foley, for our DCU Alumni Awards Fireside Chat.
I'm delighted to be joined now by the winner of today's Outstanding Achievement in Sport Award, and that is Leinster, Ireland and Lions prop forward Tadhg Furlong. Congratulations, Tadhg.
Thank you very much for having me, number one, and it's obviously a huge honour getting the award from my past college.
Yeah, you're normally winning things on pitch. What does it feel like to win something off the pitch?
Yeah, it's nice in a way to be recognised for your achievement, I suppose. It's something that doesn't happen all that too much, so it feels great, yeah.
Tadhg, tell us, obviously we know a lot about your rugby career, but we know very little really about your time in college. And it struck me that a lot of rugby players will end up on the Belfield campus because that's where Leinster is based. So how did you end up going to DCU?
I suppose I left school at 17 with no real affiliation or ties to anyone, and certainly no promise that, you know, I was going to get a professional contract from Leinster in some ways. So I looked at it quite broadly, and the DCU business course stuck out. It came really, really highly recommended. At the same time, I was planning on joining Clontarf Rugby Club, which is quite close to the college. So I knew a few boys going there. I had a house sorted around that area as well. And I suppose couple the two of them together, and I joined DCU.
And tell us a little bit about your time in college then. Did you play rugby while you were in college, or were you contracted to Leinster at that point?
Yeah, I was kind of tied up with Leinster at that point. I would have got a scholarship in my first or second year there, but I suppose contractually I wasn't allowed to play, so you ended up contributing in whatever way you could, really. So helping out training sessions or going to games. And
you said you coached a little bit as well. What do you remember about rugby in DCU while you were there? I heard you followed matches.
Yeah, no, really passionate. There was a good group of players there who, you know, they took it seriously, but they also had a good crack off the pitch. And, you know, I've met some people there I still keep in contact with, and you know, I suppose, look, the training facilities and all that are obviously first class, and you know, it was good to see the team doing well when I was there.
And while you were a student there, obviously Leinster's base, you would have been in the academy to start with. Leinster's base is on the other side of the city. Were you travelling, and how do you combine elite athlete and student?
For my first year, it wasn't too bad. Being in, I suppose, sub-academy, we're in every day at 7 o'clock. And the emphasis at that stage of your career is there's no guarantee you're going to make anything here. So they really pushed lads towards colleges. So they facilitated our training early on in the morning. As time went on, and, you know, I was in the academy and you're involved with senior training, a lot of it was to do with, you know, close contact with your year head, with your lecturers, with people in your class, and a lot of online learning as well, because you just can't be in two places at the one time. So time management is severely tested, you know, but looking back now, you know, I was delighted that I was able to balance both, but I was delighted I ploughed on as much as I did at the time.
Brilliant. So you have that always, as you say, to go back to. You were still in DCU as a student, I think, when you made your debut with Leinster.
Yeah, and I suppose at that stage I knew no different, really. There I am now.
There you are, your only little gossin.
Yeah. Look, I knew no different, really. I was balancing college and work, and, you know, I'm still a young man there, or young boy even, trying to find his way in the world a little bit. So it was play on. I was lucky I didn't. I think I only played 7 or 8 games for Leinster by the time I had graduated. So I wasn't in full, I suppose, pro rugby mode where you're playing every game every week.
Yeah, so the timing was actually quite good for you. And then you really was quite extraordinary in that you made your debut for Ireland in 2015, I think, in a World Cup warm-up matches, you know, before you'd even played Six Nations.
Yeah, I played very, very little rugby before I made or got my first cap in some ways. So I was I played my first cap for Ireland 2 games out from a Rugby World Cup in 2015. Ended up playing my second cap at loosehead prop, which is the only game I've ever played at loosehead prop in my life. And ended up going to a World Cup, and I didn't have a lot to play in it. I played 25 minutes against Romania. I was holding bags for a lot of it, but I suppose you learn as much off the field in terms of, you know, the way you train, the way you carry yourself. You know, learning from the likes of Paul O'Connell, who was still playing back then, etc. So, you know, it happened really, really fast for me. And, you know, going to that 2015 World Cup is surreal in some ways.
Right. And then 2018, this photo represents 2018 so much, win the Grand Slam. Obviously an incredible year, playing against the All Blacks in Chicago and Australia and everything. Has that been the highlight of the career so far?
Internationally with Ireland, without a doubt. I know with your career, making your first cap, making your first Irish cap, their games you never forget. Beating All Blacks in Chicago was an absolutely surreal experience. and then going on Lions tours, you know, a massive honour and pride and a boyhood dream, really. But you know, that Grand Slam in 2018 is, you know, it's nearly surreal even thinking about that photo, walking around Twickenham in the snow, friends and family there, just the pure celebrations of it all. It was amazing.
You've achieved so much. I mean, you're still only 27 and you've achieved so much in your career. And I'm presuming that this Lions, being picked on the Lions in 2017, there you are, as Bill McLaren would say, 19 stone on the hoof there, looking amazing. How big was that to get it again so young in your career, really?
Playing in a red jersey and a Lions jersey is a boyhood dream for me. I watched all the DVDs of the past tours, watched all the games. I remember getting up early mornings and watching it. And, you know, to play in a 3-test tour over there was, in New Zealand of all places, back-to-back World Cup champions, was just amazing. And just to be surrounded by the caliber of player that you were, surrounded by you know, guys that you played against, but also admired because you're watching when you're growing up, and you know, it was an amazing experience.
Well, I often wondered actually from that team, it was technically a draw. How would you favour settling it if that happened again?
Technically, logistically, the only way you can really resolve it is by extra time, because the way the rugby season is so locked in, you're never going to get a 4 test in there. Is it fair to leave it as a draw? It could be. There was never a draw in the history of the Lions Tour before that. Can this be a once-off? Who knows? Yeah, I don't mean to get too political on it, really. It was just unbelievably surreal when the final whistle blew and they weren't celebrating and we weren't celebrating. And it's just, what do we do here now? What does this mean? Is there extra time? What are we doing?
It certainly will go down in history. You talked at the start about, you know, waiting to get your first chance. I'd say this summer must have felt a bit like waiting to get your first chance again. We're all coming out of 4 months of lockdown. First of all, where did you spend it?
I moved back in with my parents, which is the first time. Obviously, I left home at 17, so I was back in, you know, a single bed in Camp Island, Wexford, with Man United duvet, Man United curtains, the winning team in 1995 or whatever. So, yeah, I was just home on the farm. My father, we have a little farmhouse down there. So me and him, over the course of the lockdown, we're just tipping away. We're renovating that. It got into a pretty sorry state. So it was lovely to stay active and stay involved and have, I suppose, some sort of, you know, reason to do something, a bit of drive in the morning.
After 3 months or over 3 months that you're back in with Leinster now, you're just about to go back into full contact training as well. What are the immediate focuses for you, or are you even thinking as far as the next match?
We've been training in groups of 6 and 7 last week on the pitch. We weren't allowed to pass the ball, for example. This week it's gone up to 12 and the ball has been introduced. So every week it's ramping up a small bit more. So it's going really well. I think everyone's just itching to get back on the pitch. Everyone's itching to get back into full rugby training because we're not there yet. I think everyone has the first game in mind. You know, we're playing 2 games, then we're into quarter-final in Europe. So, you know, it's a big start for us. There's no sort of dilly-dally, and everyone's eager to hit the ground running.
Well, look at Tadhg, we can't wait to see you back in action for Leinster and for Ireland. DCU is obviously very proud of you and has given you this Outstanding Achievement Award in sport, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks a million.
That was our 2020 Outstanding Achievement Awardee, Tadhg Furlong, in conversation with sports journalist and DCU alumna, Cliona Foley. Sincerely thanks to Cliona, a great volunteer from the alumni community, who also writes regularly for DCU Voices, our alumni magazine. Before we get to honour the rest of the Outstanding Achievement awardees, it is my pleasure to introduce to you DCU President Professor Breen McCrath.
Díomh agus fáilte romh ag an ócáid speisialta seo ar líne. Hello everybody and welcome to the 2020 DCU Alumni Awards ceremony. This is always a special event in the DCU calendar, but this year it's exceptional in a number of ways. Firstly, it's our first ever virtual awards ceremony for reasons that you appreciate. I know we will all miss the excitement of the traditional black tie gala in the Helix and the joy of reuniting with old friends. But on the positive side, this online format is allowing us to gather together probably our biggest ever audience for the Alumni Awards, as we're joined by DCU graduates from every corner of the globe. Secondly, this year's ceremony is also special because it's a key event in DCU's 40th anniversary celebrations. We opened our doors as NIHE Dublin in November 1980 to just 191 students. 40 years later, we have 18,250 students, and our graduates are part of an impressive network of more than 85,000 alumni worldwide. And on a personal basis, this is quite a significant event for myself as well, as I stepped down from the presidency in less than a week's time after 10 years at the helm in DCU. But more about that anon. Today's event is an opportunity to take stock of the huge contributions made by DCU alumni in Ireland and around the world over the past 4 decades. And it's also a chance to celebrate your particular role in realising the DCU mission to transform lives and societies. You have already seen this in the calibre of the individuals that we have recognised in our Alumni Wall from across our 5 faculties. We'll move shortly to the presentation of the Alumni Awards for Outstanding Achievement. In that context, I'd like to highlight the presentation of a posthumous award to the family of the late Mary Mulvihill in recognition of her outstanding achievements in the area of societal impact. At a time when the communication of science to the general public was never more important, we miss Mary's leadership, and tonight we honour her memory. We'll be revealing the other 5 awardees shortly, but rest assured they are all, just like Mary, exceptional individuals who have made wonderful contributions in areas of importance to DCU. Diversity and inclusion, innovation and technology, leadership, arts, culture and creativity, and sport. As we were planning for 2020, a central element was intended to be a year-long celebration of our 40th anniversary, highlighting different aspects of the university. Like almost every other aspect of our lives, however, those celebrations have been upstaged and disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. This disruption, along with all its associated human and economic impacts, challenged the university in many ways. But I am proud to say the DCU response demonstrated yet again the remarkable resilience of our community. You can read more about this in the 2020 edition of our alumni magazine, DCU Voices. This evening, I wanted to give you a brief update about some of the many positive things happening at DCU in areas like innovation, inclusion, education, and sustainability. With regard to innovation, there have been a number of good news stories. For example, we were delighted to see Professor Noel O'Connor being appointed CEO of the Insight Centre for Data Analytics, Europe's largest research centre addressing this key area of technology. Noel played a key role in securing a government investment of €49 million for the next 6-year phase of Insight. The strength of DCU's innovation culture was underlined recently by the sale of a DCU spin-out company, Iconic Translation Machines, to RWS Holdings, in a deal worth almost €18 million. Iconic is a software provider specialising in the development of best-in-class neural machine translation, and it emerged from the SFI-funded ADAPT Centre here at DCU. Meanwhile, DCU students continue to lead the way in terms of social innovation. Earlier in May, DCU won the Enactus Ireland Student Social Entrepreneurship Competition for the 6th time in 9 years. They now go forward to represent Ireland in the World Cup finals in September, with a number of innovative solutions, including one that gives people with dyslexia an improved online reading experience. Very impressive. In terms of inclusion, this year we mark 30 years of the DCU Access programme. From very small beginnings, DCU Access is now the largest and longest running such programme in Ireland. Today, thanks to the work of DCU Educational Trust and the generosity of our donors, we are able to support around 1,200 DCU Access students. The Trust has also been instrumental in creating the DCU COVID-19 Student Emergency Fund, launched in response to the challenges and financial hardship facing students and their families as a result of the pandemic. As the Black Lives Matter movement puts a spotlight on racism and privilege worldwide, DCU remains as committed as ever to inclusion and diversity through initiatives such as its membership of the University of Sanctuary Network. And recently, to mark World Refugee Day, we announced 30 scholarships for Irish-based refugees and asylum seekers. There's been good news too regarding our activities in the area of sustainability. For the second year in a row, DCU has been ranked 12th globally in the UI Green Metrics World University Rankings for Sustainability. We're building on this progress by developing a new sustainability plan and charter that establishes science-based targets across DCU operations, including building management, water usage, CO2 emissions and transportation. And finally, to education. The DCU Institute of Education is still in its early years, having come into being in late 2016, but it has performed remarkably during that time. The 2020 QS subject rankings for universities now places DCU in the world's top 200 for education, and I'm very sure that that position will continue to improve. A key factor in that progress is the establishment of a range of research centres in key areas of importance in 21st century education. In that context, I was very pleased to announce earlier this month the establishment of the Naughton Family Chair in STEM Education at DCU, and we are very grateful to the Naughton family of Glendimplex renown for their generosity. I mentioned earlier that this Alumni Awards ceremony would be my last such event speaking to you as DCU President. It has been a truly wonderful honour and privilege to lead this university over the past decade, during which time we have witnessed many changes. I am very pleased that we have grown significantly in scale, in footprint, but most importantly in reputation, both nationally and internationally over that period. With our continued focus on the development of rounded and adaptable graduates, perhaps the most significant measure of our achievements is the fact that DCU is currently ranked 19th in the world for its graduate employment rate. I want to express my gratitude to you, the members of our alumni community, for the support and the encouragement that you have given me during my tenure as President. As I prepare to step down, I have been reflecting on the fact that my interactions with graduates have been amongst the most positive and the most satisfying aspects of my role. Wherever I have travelled, at home or abroad, I have always been impressed by the energy and the achievements of DCU's alumni community. It is really gratifying to know that so many of you are still engaged and connected with DCU, and I hope you will continue to do so in the years ahead. In that context, I want to wish my successor, Professor Tadhg Furlong, every success as he takes on the role at a very challenging time for universities across the world. I know that Dara will do a wonderful job for DCU and will advance the university to the next level. And all I ask is that you give him the same level of support as you have given me over the past decade. Before I sign off, I want to thank Zaina Bolladale for doing a wonderful job this evening as MC, and also to salute her co-host, Ross Munnelly, for his excellent leadership of our alumni relations function over recent years. So please enjoy the rest of this ceremony. Goramila Mahagav Galer, Ganari Liv.
Thank you to DCU President Professor Breen McCrath, speaking so passionately about DCU and our alumni community. Don't forget to use the hashtag DCU Alumni Awards 2020 and to tag at DCU Alumni on your social media post this evening. We are reading and replying to your comments and photos, so keep sharing. Now, on to the announcement of the 2020 Outstanding Achievement Awards. This category recognises achievements at a national or international level in a thematic area of importance to the university. The Outstanding Achievement Award for Arts, Culture and Creativity goes to Pat McCabe. Pat is one of Ireland's most renowned and celebrated contemporary fiction writers, with work stretching back over 4 decades, and twice nominated for the prestigious Booker Prize. He first came to prominence when his short story, The Call, received the Irish Press Hennessy Award in 1979. He published his first novel, Music on Clinton Street, in 1986, and it was his 1992 work, The Butcher Boy, that projected his work to an international audience with his first Booker nomination. His second Booker nomination, for Breakfast on Pluto, came in 1998, and both books were adapted for film by the celebrated director Neil Jordan. Pat has written for the theatre, books for children, numerous short stories, and several radio plays. His work has been celebrated by numerous awards, including the Irish Book of the Decade in 2010 for Winterwood. His most recent novel, The Big Yaroo, was published in 2019, and a musical interpretation of his Breakfast at Pluto is due to launch later this year. Pat graduated from St. Patrick's College in 1974 with a Bachelor of Education degree. The Outstanding Achievement Award for Equality, Diversity and Inclusion goes to Dorania Mulvihill. Dorania is an award-winning national and international TV presenter and host. At the age of 16, she lost both her legs below the knee and all of her fingers after contracting an aggressive strain of meningitis and septicemia. After a full year recovering in hospital, Dorania learned how to walk again with prosthetic limbs and returned to school months later. In 2001, Dorania received an Irish Person of the Year award, and in 2004, she was appointed to the Irish Council of State by President Mary McAleese. Dorania began working in RTE in 2006. Since then, she has become a regular host or co-host of varied sporting events and has co-hosted RTE's coverage of the Rio Paralympic Games. She currently works as an Irish language reporter on the Scannell series in RTE. She also has worked on a variety of Paralympic events for Channel 4, including their coverage of the 2014 Winter Games in Sochi and the World Athletic Championships. And she has co-presented the Invictus Games for the BBC on 2 occasions. Dorania graduated from DCU in 2005 with a BA in Communication Studies. The Outstanding Achievement Award for Innovation and Technology goes to Sinead Strain. Sinead is an inspirational leader in progressing the role of women in technology. She joined Goldman Sachs in 2005 as a vice president, was named managing director in 2010, and was confirmed as a partner in 2018. She is a member of Firm-wide Technology Risk Committee, Engineering Risk Committee, and Global Markets Automated Trading Controls Committee. She has also worked for JP Morgan in interest rates and credit trading technology areas. Throughout her career, Sinead has been a champion of the value of mentoring women in technology. She is a co-sponsor of the Women in Engineering Network at Goldman Sachs and has served on the steering committee for the New York chapter of the Anita Berg Institute, which supports female technologists in New York City. She graduated with a degree in computer applications from DCU in 1992. This year's Outstanding Achievement Award for Leadership goes to Professor David Lloyd. As Chancellor and President of the University of South Australia since 2012, one of the top 50 universities under 50 in the world, David is already a leader of international standing in higher education. He has also served first as Dean and Vice President of Research and then as Bursar and Director of Strategic Innovation at Trinity College. David served on the South Australia Economic Development Board from 2014 to 2018, and in 2019 was appointed Chair of the Committee for Adelaide, a group dedicated to supporting a progressive and sustainable future for South Australia. David was named a Fellow of the Australian Academy of Technology and Engineering in 2019. He holds an honorary professorship from Tianjin University and is a Fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry. David is a two-time graduate of DCU with a Bachelor of Science in Applied Chemistry in 1995 and with a PhD in Chemistry Research in 1999. This year's Outstanding Award for Societal Impact is awarded posthumously to Mary Mulvihill. Mary first studied genetics in Trinity College Dublin and also obtained a master's in statistics. After graduating from DCU, she followed a career as a self-employed science writer and broadcaster. In 1990, she founded Women in Technology and Science. In 2002, her opus Ingenious Ireland was published, which won her the Irish National Science and Technology Journalist of the Year Award, the IBM Science Journalist of the Year Award, and the Industrial Heritage Association of Ireland's Publication Award. Her spin-off company, Ingenious Ireland, ran a number of walking tours around Dublin, dedicated to our scientific heritage theme. Mary attained a graduate diploma in journalism from the National Institute for Higher Education in 1988. And finally, as you heard earlier during the Fireside chat, this year's Outstanding Achievement Award for Sport goes to Tadhg Furlong. Tadhg Furlong is openly regarded as one of the best and most recognisable players in world rugby today. Hailing from Wexford, Tadhg has been at the core of both the Leinster and Irish rugby teams for many years and has been instrumental in their success, earning 44 caps for Ireland and making 108 appearances for Leinster to date. Tadhg's rugby career began during his time in DCU, when he made his debut for Leinster Rugby in 2013. He then made his debut for Ireland in 2015, just 22 years old. He has also played for the British and Irish Lions, starting all 3 test matches of the series, with an impressive 338 minutes on his first tour. Some of his sporting achievements include winning a Six Nations Grand Slam, European Rugby Champions Cup, the Pro 14, and a nomination for the 2020 European Player of the Year award. Tadhg graduated with a Bachelor of Business Studies from DCU in 2014. We are now approaching the end of our ceremony. Before that, it is only right and fitting that we reflect on the major contribution of Professor Breen McCrath to alumni relations at DCU. As you may know, Breen's tenure as president is concluding on the 13th of July. He has been a tremendous support to the alumni community over the last decade and a marvellous advocate for engagement of all our graduates at home and abroad. I am delighted to welcome the chairperson of the Alumni Council, Marion Corcoran, to share a few words about our outgoing president.
Breen, as another wonderful event draws to a close, and more importantly, as your presidency draws to a close, I think it's timely that I express gratitude on behalf of the alumni community. And we have a lot to be thankful for. A number of things come to mind. Firstly, was your leadership around the restructure and reimagination of alumni relations. I think it has allowed us to create great momentum and to create the foundations for a lifelong, valued, two-way relationship between alumni and the university. Secondly, your leadership around the revitalisation of DCU Voices has been really impactful. We now have a wonderful communication channel where the articles are written by graduates for graduates, and it truly demonstrates the impact of DCU graduates on society and on business. And finally, your presence, support at so many alumni events has been a real tribute to your leadership. And I'm thinking in particular of the global events in Washington, New York and San Francisco. So Brian, on a personal basis, on behalf of the Alumni Council and on behalf of all alumni and this year's graduates, may I say a huge thank you and welcome to the alumni community.
Thanks, Marion. And now Director of Alumni Relations, Ross Munnelly, will close this year's Alumni Awards.
And so, our Alumni Awards is drawing to a close. Events of this nature would not be possible without the hard work and commitment of the extended DCU family. Special thanks to many DCU graduates who have helped to produce this evening's awards ceremony. Yvonne Crotty, Seamus Brett, and the performers for the fantastic entertainment. Jane Last, Head of Digital Communications. Cliona Foley for her fantastic Fireside chat with Tadhg Furlong. Katie Halpin in the Marketing Office. And our own team in the Alumni Office, in particular Leanne Hannafin, Liam Kane and Mark Barry. A special word of thanks to our MC extraordinaire, a truly great friend of DCU, Zainab Boladale. I express particular thanks to President Brian McCrath for his unending support over the last decade, as highlighted by Marion just a few moments ago. And we look forward to the next decade with President-designate Professor Dara Keogh, whom himself has been a driving force for alumni engagement at DCU. Arish, Bawat Lum Coorgicus, a Yéanav leis na buatóirí gradam. Táimid ag súil le tuile éachtaí uamh san am atá le cheacht. Once again, let me take this opportunity to congratulate our alumni awardees. We are tremendously proud of your achievements and we look forward to following your successes in the future. I wish you all a good night, stay safe and keep in touch.
Once again, congratulations to all of our Alumni Award winners this evening. We are so proud of your achievements and we hope you and your family enjoyed the ceremony. We will leave you with this performance of The Parting Glass performed by Emmett Cahill, Gary Roach and Seamus Brett. Thank you for joining us. Slán agus Banaclat. Good night.
Of all the money that e'er I spend it in good company. And of all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And of all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. A man may drink and not be drunk, A man may fight and not be slain. A man may court a pretty girl and perhaps be welcomed home again. But since it has so ordered been, by a time to rise and a time to fall, come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be